Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. Appreciate all y'all who have been subscribing, rating, and reviewing and sharing with your family and friends. And the other thing I should pass along is that we are having just an incredible response in terms of the social media interaction. I've tried to be more proactive on that front. So thank you just for everything, the support you guys give the show, even our Ute brethren who apparently don't like to actually watch podcasts, but, TLDR, take headlines and, have fun with it. All publicity is good publicity. Let's just put it that way. All right. Beyond that, BYU's offensive line has got a lot to prove this year. Losing guys like Connor Pay, Braden Kime, also Caleb Etienne from last year. Those are all three very, very strong and multi-year starters for the BYU football program. Well, insert guys like Andrew Gentry, Isaiah Jota, Bruce Mitchell. His ascension as an offensive lineman continues, but a guy that his versatility, I think, is his calling card, and he'll actually address this in the interview we're about to play, is the Austin Leausa. Now, many of you don't know maybe the background of Austin Leausa. He went to Southern Utah University and played very, very well for the Thunderbirds. Then he decided to hit the transfer portal. This is let's say 3 or 4 years ago, hits the transfer portal, ultimately settles on going to Utah State. And as he tells it, had kind of fallen out of love with the game. He thought he was done. He and his wife had their first child. They actually have 2 now, which they're beautiful little, I think he's got 2 daughters, if I recall. But he was essentially done with football. Decided, you know what? I'm not done. And so decided to go back to Southern Utah, as I understand it, and then hit the transfer portal once again and landed, as he calls it, his dream school in Brigham Young University. It's been a interesting path for him, but Austin's capable of playing any position it feels like other than center on the offensive line. That's 4 different positions, and I wouldn't even put it past him to be able to slot in at center if need be. That's how good he is as a versatile offensive lineman. He's been spending a lot of time with the first string offense from what I have seen during practices at guard. He's even played some tackle, but that ability to be interchangeable and no matter where BYU needs him to line up on the offensive line, be able to contribute and do it at a high level, that's a great thing to have as your skill set. And that is, I think, what a guy like Austin Leausa brings to this program is versatility. It also doesn't hurt the fact that he's got some strong opinions on BYU's running backs. He's got strong opinions on how good this offensive line can be. And without further ado, I'm going to let you guys hear from him right now. And we started off, the audio got a little choppy right out the chute. So I'm going to essentially tee it up by essentially asking the first question. I asked him how camp was going.
I think camp's going pretty good. We're doing a lot of great things as an offensive line, but more importantly as a team. I think we're coming together a lot more than we did in the spring. But overall, we're just moving in the right direction. So that's the goal.
I talked to Coach Woods about a week ago, right when camp was kind of kicking off, and he mentioned the fact he liked the versatility of everybody in this room. And you've been playing some guard, you've played tackle here in your time. Do you pride yourself on that versatility?
Yeah, I think it's a big step that Coach Woods has implemented in my game personally. I know that he's, I've always wanted me to play left and right side and swing out there at tackle as well. So that's been a big help in my game, but also, I just want to do anything I can to help the team.
Is part of that because you're thinking about a professional type future, like thinking about the versatility you could offer to the NFL, et cetera?
Yeah, I definitely, I definitely want to try. It's always been a goal of mine. I'm not going to hang my hat if I don't get the opportunity. I'm going to keep pushing, keep moving forward, but it's definitely a goal of mine to get there.
How much better can this offensive line be than maybe the offensive line last year?
We were pretty good last year.
I was going to say.
We were a tight-knit group, but I think, honestly, the versatility with this group and the ways that we can have, and we're deep. We have a lot of good offensive linemen here. It's still up in the air who's going to be playing, but we're deep, and I think that's going to be very, very competitive in this league.
I know you haven't been at BYU very long, but you're a veteran player. You played a lot of football. Do you pride yourself on being one of those veteran voices in that room? Yeah, I definitely think that that's something that Coach Woods has challenged me to be, is kind of be that father figure or, that older brother that the guys need. I know Waylon, Sonny, Jota and Gentry, they stepped into those roles as well, but just being there for them in any way, shape, or form that I can be, especially with the experience that I have. We were talking to Coach Roderick. I think it was the second day of camp we had a chance to talk to him. He said, I think we should be able to run the football. Do you like hearing that from your offensive coordinators and offensive linemen? Man, that's O-line's dream. We definitely want to be run heavy in this offense, and we know we do have some weapons on the outside, but it's an O-line's dream to run the ball any chance they can. So, yeah, I think we're going to do that a lot this year. How good can LJ and Sione and these running backs be, in your opinion?
I think they're the best in the conference. No doubt in my mind. I think they can be not only the best in the conference, but some of the best backfield in the nation. So,
why? What's your reasoning for that?
Man, there's just the off-season work that we put in with the strength staff. They did a great job with getting us right, putting us in the right positions to be great, and we've just carried that over to fall camp, from spring ball to summer conditioning, now to fall camp.
Last thing for me is you are a transfer into this program. What's your experience at BYU been like since coming up from Southern Utah? And obviously you had a stint at Utah State as well.
It's been nothing short of a miracle. Me and my family have loved every single bit of being here at BYU, the culture that BYU is, the coaches that Kalani has. It just embodies what we want, me and my wife and our future family and our future kids just want in general and for a future for us. So that's just really who BYU is, and that's the ultimate decision why we came.
The best running back duo in the Big 12, if not the country. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Some high praise for Sione Moa and obviously LJ Martin from Austin Leausa, but obviously they will not be able to be that without guys like him in front of them opening holes, and more importantly, also protecting a guy like Bear Bachmeier as BYU's quarterback. But I appreciate what Austin had to say, because as I said, it didn't come off as haughty. It didn't come off as him being like better than everybody else. No, you can tell he's a humble dude who's living his absolute dream, still playing the game he loves and plans on pursuing it at the professional level. I can respect every single bit about it. As I mentioned, he has been well-traveled as a football player. Southern Utah to Utah State, back to SUU, and then finally at BYU. It's not been an easy path that Austin Leausa has trod, but what he has brought to BYU, as I mentioned, is that versatility. He's got a strong mindset of what he wants to accomplish as a football player, and you can hear it in his voice when he talks about how much he loves and appreciates what BYU has been for him and his family. I don't think a single person within the sound of my voice or his voice is going to disagree with anything that young man had to say right there. And I sure as heck hope he's right about LJ Martin and Sione Moa being that elite tandem he believes them to be. Because if that's the case, a guy like Bear Bachmeier is going to be ultra comfortable in this offense, because it's going to be a hard running BYU football team that's going to be deadly on play action. And that's, in many respects, the easiest way to ease a first-time quarterback into an offense is give them easy throws off play action and the like. And the only way you do that is to have an elite running game. And that's the hope that Sione Moa, LJ Martin, they stay healthy. As I understand it last night, Enoch Nawahine and Preston Rex were both in street clothes at the scrimmage, so unfortunate that they weren't able to participate. But the hope is that they're back soon. And Hinkley Rapati also gets his waiver from the NCAA, which BYU is still waiting on. And that running game, it becomes electric. Remember back when Tyler Algier was just running wild on opposing defenses? That's what BYU's offense would love to be, is a hard-running team that they're just picking people off and making deep shot after deep shot on offense, because the play action is that deadly for an opposing defense. Be awesome to have it. And I think Austin Leausa, he is got some strong words, but at the same time, I think he's got the mindset to go out and, as he's talking the talk, to walk the walk and prove it for the BYU football program.